you know. And I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like the truth, and you know, I can't apologize for that.
Did you feel that there were misperceptions about you in that regard?
You know, everybody's got to, you know, make their own, you know, judgments, you know, on you as a person, and you know, but I've got to be, you know, who I am, and I've got to always do what I think is right for the University of Maryland and for my players, and understanding that, you know, that I have a role and a responsibility of being a parent, a teacher, a coach, a mentor. And you know, the thing is, I don't treat the players at the University of Maryland any different than what I treat my own son and daughter. So, you know, I just think that I think there's been some things written and said about Tom Coughlin too, and all he does is, you know, continue to preach the same message, and you know, it just had to take him to win before people all of a sudden, but then they still tried to run him out this past year, and he wins another Super Bowl. So, you know, regardless of, you know, what you do, you know, there's always going to be, you know, people who have opinions, and in this world it's great because it's a free country and people can write and say whatever they want to say. But I'm never gonna steer away from doing what I think is best to make these kids the best they can be as students, as players, and as people, because to me, you know, that's what my job is.
It was changing both. Kevin had mentioned a little bit earlier, or yesterday, just about the familiarity of being in a pro-style offense as he had been a couple years ago. I mean, did you see during that transition during the spring that guys kind of picked some stuff up maybe a little bit quicker than normal because perhaps of that familiarity with playing in a pro-style scheme?
You know, I think that, you know, anytime you've been involved in something, and then if there's something that's been, you know, that's been changed, you go back to it, the learning curve is such that it's not going to be as much. You know, and I also think that, you know, your approach to those things is good. But no, I thought our guys picked up the offense pretty well in the spring, and you know, and we'll continue to do that when we get back in August, and I think they'll even be better. And again, there's things that that we're going to do, you know, to help us, and you know, having Kevin wasn't out there much this spring, and that'll help us even be better in the fall.
What makes Vermont so effective, and how is his role going to be a little different in the 3-4?
Well, the thing that makes Joe, you know, the player in person, you know, first of all, he comes from a great family. You know, he's a great mom and dad, and been raised the right way, and you know, works to do things the way you want them done. But you know, Joe's a guy that's he's a student of the game. You know, he's a guy that wants to be successful and will spend the time necessary to be successful. He's got a terrific motor, and you know, the other thing is he understands. You know, he understands offenses. He understands what they're trying to do, and he's one of those guys that just, you know, he takes a lot of pride in how he plays. And when he watches himself on film, you know, he's very critical, you know, of himself. So, you know, you as a coach, you know, when you're going to correct him, it's not one of those things where he's not going to get upset. And when he sees it, he's gonna come right back off the field and tell you that, hey, you know, I did this or I didn't do that. You know, I mean, he's one of those guys that has so much pride and has a tremendous motor.
Have you ever had a defensive lineman make 20 tackles in a game?
No, and I've been around some pretty good ones too. You know, I mean, some other Timmy Green when we were at Syracuse, and you know, some other Ted Gregory and some other guys. But I've never had a guy make 20. I mean, that was you go back and watch that film, and it's amazing, because you're just, you know, there's some plays where, you know, he's on the opposite side of the center. The ball's going away from the opposite hash, and he's running the ball down on the opposite numbers. I mean, it just, and he's running by some defensive backs, you know, to get there. I mean, that, you know, and the great thing about Joe is he earned that, All-American and All-Conference and everything else. But Joe is no different today than what he was before that game against Georgia Tech or even before last year. He's not one of these kids that wants to read every clipping and, get a big head. It's like, hey, I got to work harder to be better, the next day. And that's what you love about it.
Kevin said yesterday that it feels like a cloud has been lifted, and he talked a little bit more about how he feels like the players know how they can make it fun, but also be able to separate that and know when it's time to go to work. How have you? Is that something that's going through the whole team, or how can you see that change from year one to year two?
Well, if you come into our facility, the biggest thing that you see as you go down the stairs, it's our pyramid, and it's about team, and the bottom thing is trust. The trust wasn't there last year.
Do you think that
and now
Coach Loxley have helped that?
I think it's a combination of everything. It's just not one thing. It's just it's something that you keep preaching, is the trust and the enthusiasm, the accountability and the mental toughness. Because when you trust people, it's a lot easier to go and do the things that you need to do, on both accounts. And that's what I think the biggest thing is. It's a level of trust has been established that never was able to get established, a year ago.
Obviously, that trust is important long term, but do you think that the improved attitude and cohesiveness and just guys buying in is going to be enough in 2012 to overcome the pretty mass exodus of talent you have with the transfers?
Well, that's what we're going to find out. We'll find that out. But no, I mean, to me, if you can have all the talent in the world, but if you never have that camaraderie, and that togetherness, and all that, you're not going to win very many games. But you might not have as much talent. But if you have that chemistry and you have that camaraderie and you have that level of trust, you'll be a whole lot better than you will when you have all that talent and you don't have those other things. And I've seen it in all my years of coaching. I've seen some teams that have been very, very talented that never, got to where they needed to be because there was not that trust. It was guys that were individuals. There was no chemistry. There was no camaraderie. And you see that at all levels. You see it at the professional level. You see it at the high school level. You see it at the college level. You see it at all levels.
Two guys I didn't see on the roster, Lucas Foreman, who I know
You would see all that stuff. You pick all that stuff up all the time.
Stephon Houston. So, are those guys? Is Houston not enrolling? No, he's not.
Yeah.
Is he gray shirting or is he just?
He will not be enrolling. He will not be part of our team in 2012.
Okay. And Foreman is gone.
Yes, he did not fulfill all his obligations to the university, and so no, he is no longer on the team.
Even though it's only year two for you, how much pressure do you feel to kind of I need to get better results now this year right away to kind of get the fans on board and make everyone kind of calm down and happy with you?
Mark, pressure. I'll have put more pressure on myself than what anybody else could ever put on me. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to wake up each and every day and go do the job, to the best of my ability, and do the things the way that I know that will make us successful. And I'll go to bed at night and sleep very, very well.
Bringing in two new coordinators, how hard is it going to be to kind of? I mean, is that half the battle of okay? I think we'll have a better year this year because I've got the right people now and the right systems, or how much of that is, geez, it's going to be tough to have better results this year because we're starting over with new coordinators and new systems.
I'm not. My thing is I'm very happy and comfortable with the staff that I have in place. I'm very comfortable and happy with the approach and the attitude that our players, and we're looking extremely forward to getting the season started.
How many guys are you having scholarship this year?
Excuse me.
How many are you having scholarship this year?
Right now, we're at 80. Right now, we have 101 coming to camp.
How important is it to have balance on the staff between guys who are really good recruiters and guys who are really good instructors? Obviously, you want all of them to do both, but how do you strike that balance, particularly with a guy like Mike, who's just an all-star recruiter at any level? Do you help him out some with some guys who are perhaps really good instructors at some of the other offensive coaching positions?
Well, Mike's a real good instructor. I hope you're not of course not thinking that Mike can't coach or can't teach. But no, I mean, the guys that you hire, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and what you want is to have guys that can relate to the young people and have them from a coaching standpoint, a teaching standpoint, and then also from a recruiting. Recruiting is all about relationships, so you're looking to have people who understand how to develop a relationship, how to cultivate relationships. And then, from a coaching standpoint, you want guys who can teach guys the intricacies of what you're doing, but also about what everybody else is doing, and be able to teach them in a way where, like I said, not every two players are the same in terms of learning and understanding. So, the thing is when I go to hire somebody, I want somebody that's capable